Downtown Toronto. She died shortly after. Tonight, the suspect in what's believed to be a random, unprovoked attack appears in court for the first time. What we've learned about the man and the latest from police. Plus,
I don't think I could survive an eviction. I'm sorry. This will kill me.
a Toronto woman and longtime tenant urges compassion from her landlord after getting an eviction notice during her terminal cancer treatment. Even the mayor weighs in.
We as Black people need to make sure that, our mental health as well as our physical health is addressed and taken care of, right? Representation matters.
We'll take you to a health fair just for the Black community, a free and interactive event promoting well-being and sharing lessons for the future.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Hello, thanks for joining us. We want to start tonight with some new details on what police have called a random, unprovoked attack in downtown Toronto. You saw it here first last night. A senior shoved to the ground your Young and King. She died shortly after. A 38-year-old man is charged with aggravated assault. Today, he made his first appearance in court, and we can now tell you his name. Ryan Cunning was briefly in court this morning. The Crown asked that he be held for 3 days pending further investigation. A witness shared video with CBC appearing to show the suspect's arrest yesterday. Now, depending on the results of the victim's autopsy, the Crown says Cunning may face homicide charges. Court documents obtained by CBC today show he was previously charged with assault in connection with an incident in 2020, also in Toronto. He's due back in court on Tuesday. Now, as for the woman, police confirming tonight she was 89 years old. CBC Toronto is not identifying her until we can confirm next of kin have been notified. Well, in some other news, we have some dramatic video from this afternoon to show you. Also downtown, flooding has sparked some major traffic headaches. Have a look at the platform here. Water flowing down from the ceiling and onto trains. Here it is above ground. Subways are bypassing St. Andrew's Station. Streetcars diverting from King and University. TTC says it's all because of a water main break. It's not clear yet when the station will reopen. A Toronto woman urging her landlord to show compassion after getting an eviction notice. She's in the middle of terminal cancer treatment, and the stress of finding a new home right now feels unnecessarily cruel. As Tyler Cheese shows us, even the mayor is weighing in.
Abra Shiner has rented an apartment on Queen Street West for 23 years.
This place, it's not just an apartment to me, it is home.
Last month, she was served an eviction notice asking her to vacate by the end of March.
I've been diagnosed with a metastatic breast cancer, and I'm terminally ill. I could have as long as 5 years, maybe 10 if I'm lucky, but we just don't know. I could only have a few months.
I don't think I could survive. I don't think I could survive an eviction. I'm sorry. This will kill me.
The eviction notice states that one of the landlord's children plans to move into Shiner's unit. But according to the landlord's lawyer, Shiner's not being asked to move just yet. On a phone call with CBC Toronto, Elaine Page said Shiner is entitled to make a submission to the Landlord-Tenant Board, which has the authority to delay or decline an eviction. She noted that Section 38 of the Landlord-Tenant Act outlines circumstances like Shiner's.
The board has to consider all circumstances when ordering or being forced to consider ordering an eviction. And those circumstances, of course, include the health of the tenant. There is a case precedent where the board will refuse an application for eviction based on considerations of health.
Shiner has not had a chance to contact the board herself as she's been busy with a series of surgeries and other doctor's appointments. In the meantime, staff and patrons of the bar she owns on Dundas West are showing their support. They've started an online petition asking Shiner's landlords to let her stay. Even Mayor John Tory has been asked to weigh in.
Maybe somebody could just demonstrate some basic humanity for that woman and try to help out either by leaving her in her home for an additional period of time or by finding somewhere else that she could live comfortably in her final days.
Shiner says she's still hopeful that an arrangement can be worked out.
I know that they are not bad people. I don't believe in bad people. I hope that we can go forward to have a harmonious relationship and that they will see it in their hearts to just let me stay in my home.
Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
The pandemic exposed long-standing health and social inequities faced daily by the Black community. The Black Scientist Task Force was set up to help navigate those challenges, and experts hope to keep that momentum going. Clara Pasica takes us to a community health and wellness fair.
Panels, health checks, and some moves along the way. Healthcare professionals and members of the Black community are here to break down barriers to accessing healthcare.
There's conversations that you can have with a practitioner that, is of the same background as you, or, that looks like you, that other practitioners might not understand.
Because of the socioeconomic conditions that many of our people live under. And we think we can address that by personal responsibility. We're taking personal responsibility for our health, and that's part of the symposium. But we also understand that there are sort of systemic issues that need to be solved.
Through panels and booths that provide education and on-the-spot tests, the day hoped to get people checking up on their own health and making progress on what's harder to control individually.
Housing, food security, education, and how community-level activism can actually help to reduce some of the systemic effects.
Many here came together through the Black Scientists Task Force, formed during the pandemic as the community suffered disproportionate losses from COVID. While there's been some headway made in better prioritizing health equity issues, these experts don't want progress to stop.
And we as Black people need to make sure that, our mental health as well as our physical health is addressed and taken care of, right? Representation matters. I don't think we've ever had a Black person in the role of chair on Toronto Public Health. So hopefully, for me being the front-facing person in that on the board will help people to actually address some of these issues.
Councillor Moyes is hopeful the city budget will help, but says more support is needed. Mayor John Tory says he's open to making shifts in the budget during the consultation period.
Those are the lessons that we all have to learn, and it's not one-time learning, it's continuous learning, and I'm committed to doing it, but I also do need these partnerships with the community, but also with the other governments to make sure then we can deliver robust solutions to people who have been, historically, just based on the facts, more marginalized than others.
Community members here aren't going to miss their chance to share what that does and doesn't look like along the way. Clara Pasica, CBC News, Toronto.
Turning to some sports news next, the Blue Jays hosting baseball clinics this weekend. One of the events is supporting young players with disabilities.
Especially when I throw the ball. I have lots of fun.
My third child is autistic. He has severe autism and he's nonverbal. He's 7 years old right now. But when he goes there, he would do anything and he will have lots of fun.
Kids were playing baseball-themed games with their friends. The event is in partnership with the Jays Care Foundation and Challenger Baseball. They run adaptive baseball programs to empower kids with physical and cognitive disabilities. And some Blue Jays stopped by for all the fun, too.
The kids get really excited when we come in and help out, and just to see how much they appreciate it, makes you just keep wanting to do these things.
I've got a son of my own, and I see my son in every one of the kids out here, so just a lot of love, and thankful for the opportunity.
Yes, can you imagine getting some tips from the pros? As you can see, lots of smiles seeing their favorite players. So much fun. Yes, I know, I love it. We had those 2 days of sunshine last week, and I thought that I soaked it up, but clearly I didn't because I so miss it.
It's never enough.
It's never enough.
It was nice. I was thinking there, we were talking about the boys of summer and bringing back baseball. Right before I'm about to give you a very wintry forecast.
Okay.
So I have more of the news along that vein, Shannon. Right now, though, we were talking about a really nice calm Saturday. Really chill, lots of calm winds, light winds, maybe just a few flurries coming around the Huron and the Georgian shores. It will stay calm with light clouds into your Saturday overnight. It's when things come off the rails into your Sunday. It's the first of 3 wintry events setting up for this upcoming long-range forecast. We in the Great Lakes Basin are in the bit of the crosshairs for an active wintry track for the next 7 days. Appetizer number 1, course throughout the day on Sunday, light flurries Sunday morning. By the time we hit Sunday afternoon, it's all said and done, wrapping up late Sunday evening. Next course for Tuesday morning will be even lighter, more of a flurry system for those of you in the snow belts. I'll tell you more on the long range about the bigger, heavy hitting system that could make for a wintry storm midweek, Shannon.
Ooh, okay, we'll be watching. We'll see you shortly.
See you soon.
A group gathering today to protest the detention of political prisoners in Russia, as well as to rally against Russia's invasion and show support to Ukraine. This week also marking 2 years since the imprisonment of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny.
Poisoned and then jailed by the Russian state. So today we would like to show support to him and to other political prisoners that are currently in Russia. We want to show our support to people who cannot speak up in Russia, using the freedom of speech that we have here in Canada.
The protest taking place at Young Dundas Square. It was organized by the Russian-Canadian Association. The protest is one of many in Canadian cities and around the world dedicated to Navalny and political prisoners in Russia. A federal court has ruled the government must bring back 4 Canadian men being held in Syria, all of them suspected of being ISIS members. It follows news that 19 women and children will be brought to Canada. Ithel Musa has more.
We're overjoyed at the news. Sally Lane and her family have been fighting for years to get her son Jack Letts out of Syria. She says he traveled there in 2014 after converting to Islam as a teen, inspired by the Arab Spring and the uprisings against Bashar al-Assad's regime. He wanted to help the victims of what was going on at that time with what Assad was doing to his citizens. But Letts has been in prison in northeastern Syria for more than 5 years. He's accused of being a member of ISIS. It's something he's admitted to in British media, but his family says the admission was made in prison and under duress. That interview was actually the fruit of torture. His lawyer also says there is no evidence that Letts or any other Canadians detained ever fought for the terrorist group.
They've been sitting in arbitrary detention for 5 years with no legal steps being taken at all. If Canada has charges against them, they can charge them when they get home.
But a former U.S. diplomat says Kurdish forces may not let that happen.
These men are accused of participating in an organization that engaged in mass killings, enslaved Yazidi girls, thousands of them, engaged in horrific torture and rape. And so the Syrian Kurds want to be sure that they face the same kind of justice in Canada that they would have faced in Syria. And that's far from clear.
Letts' lawyer isn't worried the 4 men won't be repatriated.
The Kurds follow what's going on in other countries. They have been advocating for the repatriation of these prisoners, not just to Canada, but to other countries of nationality, because they shouldn't be responsible.
Global Affairs Canada says it is reviewing the federal court's decision and will have more to say in due time. It also says the safety and security of Canadians is a top priority. Ithel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. A hockey tournament is underway this weekend in Toronto, where all of the players taking part are legally blind. It's the first ever Carnegie Cup, part of an initiative to change the culture in hockey and make it more inclusive. All of the players have 10% vision or less, and the goalies are completely blind. They follow the puck using their hearing since it's larger than a traditional puck and it rattles. Tomorrow is the final day of the tournament. Well, next, we'd like to introduce you to the captain of Canada's para-ice hockey team. Toronto's Tyler McGregor is in the middle of a cross-country campaign called the Sledge Skate of Hope.
On the ice, Tyler McGregor is a force. The 3-time Paralympian and world champion gold medalist leads with confidence. He's now bringing the sport to communities across Canada. Here he is earlier this month in Halifax.
there were still so many people from the community, particularly the para-hockey program out there. A couple kids got to miss some extra school to come out.
His goal, skating his sled 42 kilometers in each of Canada's provinces, carrying on the legacy of one of his heroes.
Obviously, Terry Fox is an important inspiration in my life. I found myself honestly reflecting throughout, and I will say by kilometer 30, like my hands were killing me, my shoulders were extremely sore, and I knew I still had a good chunk to go, and I found myself reflecting just on Terry Fox himself, and I was just kind of amazed that, I feel like skating is a more efficient action than running is, let alone doing it with a prosthetic leg. I only had to do one marathon. He did them day after day, and he was battling cancer at the time.
That inspiration first sparked more than a dozen years ago. A talented hockey player who first picked up a stick when he was just a toddler, Tyler was on the cusp of the OHL draft when he got his cancer diagnosis.
I actually broke my leg the first game of that season, and then through that recovery process, I started to develop a mass on the site of the fracture, and 4 months later is when I was diagnosed with spindle cell sarcoma, so a form of bone cancer. And because I had had surgery to repair my broken leg, the cancer had spread throughout my leg, which led to my amputation.
What followed was 8 months of chemotherapy at the Children's Hospital in London, Ontario.
I was like the older brother there. Seeing young kids with cancer, they make you smile and break your heart at the same time. What the sport did for me was kind of allowed me to regain my sense of identity, I guess, or my sense of purpose.
And hopefully being in this room today offers you some inspiration, some encouragement of what's to come and what's possible in your life.
It's not a limitation unless you make it one, whatever the circumstance may be. And so I think it's important to share that with young kids, to offer them a sense of hope and possibility.
You can follow along Tyler's journey on social media and his website. He will be in the nation's capital next week. Lunar New Year celebrations taking over Toronto's Chinatown this weekend with music, dancing, and performances. Kicking off the Year of the Rabbit, the Chinatown BIA organized today's events, and celebrations continue tomorrow. Well, you can bet kitchens all around the city are very busy this weekend with the Lunar New Year celebrations. Perhaps the busiest of all will be the ones where families are making dumplings. Metro Morning host Ismaila Alpha takes us inside one home where he was quickly put to work.
We are all set up here to make dumplings, and this is actually a beautiful setup you have. What are we looking at?
We have little stations, so we have a dough making station with some flour and water. We have our little cutting board here where we're going to chop up some ingredients, and then we have a small cooktop here where we're actually going to put everything together and cook the dumplings.
Flour and water for this dough. All right, start with a little bit of water. I hope I didn't put too much in there. When did you first start making dumplings? When did you start learning how to do this?
So I started making dumplings probably when I was a kid, helping my mom in the kitchen. Dumpling is one of the dishes that we eat during Lunar New Year, and it's supposed to signify wealth and prosperity for the year. Okay. So the dumpling at the end should somewhat resemble one of these kind of like gold nuggets. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to bring you good fortune. And we do it in an assembly line usually. So someone will make the dough, someone will roll it out, someone will make the filling and fill it, and then at the end we either freeze it, batch freeze it, or cook some for consumption that day.
What is it that you love about making the dumplings from scratch, especially when you get to do it with the whole assembly line?
I just love hearing everybody's story, just being with family and friends, even during the cooking classes. I mean, it's so fun to see how all of these separate ingredients all come together, and then people are like, oh my gosh, I did this, right? Like, it's that sense of accomplishment that is like really rewarding. And Lunar New Year is all about family gathering. So this is definitely part of it. I mean, the eating part is also family gathering, but the making it just makes it that much more special.
This has been really great, I have to admit. I mean, your dumplings look way better than mine, but I kind of expected that. This is my first time doing it, but thanks so much for this.
Yeah, no problem at all.
If you weren't hungry before, sorry, but that looked delicious and amazing.
Beautiful traditions
Yes.
and culture and time for family. Happy New Year to everybody celebrating. You will have some light snow on the roads to get to any of your family gatherings for Sunday anyways. Just a trace to maybe 3 centimeters, but still, you know, it doesn't take a lot of snow to put the roads on a bit of a standstill. And it is just course number 1 of 2 and 3 to come for this long range forecast. We are talking about a bit of an active track where we will be in the crosshairs. The first 2 courses are kind of light. You've got light snow flurry starting, as we talked about, early on Sunday, heavier snow into the afternoon, wraps up by the evening, as we mentioned. Seasonal and calm for Monday before the second round comes in on Tuesday. More of a light snow story for many of you in the snow belts. And then the heavy hitter, the one to watch, will be midweek this upcoming work week, impacting not only the Wednesday evening commute, but also the Thursday morning commute. Why? It's a Texas low that will be pulling up more moisture in this stronger trough. It will be the one to watch, as this could be a major snow maker, maybe 10 centimeters, maybe 24. It really depends on where that track lines up with how much snow we end up accumulating. Time will tell. It's still a long way out. But yes, high confidence in several rounds of snow for this upcoming work week. We will finally cover all that mud out there, Shannon, but I still can't get the backyard rink to set. It is still not cold enough for that, but at least a little bit of winter weather, maybe some tobogganing by the time we talk next weekend.
I mean, that would be great. I have high confidence in your forecast. Did
Well,
you say
thanks.
10 to 24 or 10 to 20?
It depends where that track lines up. Could we be in the 10 range or maybe be in the 20 plus range? It's the crosshairs right now.
Okay, we'll take the tobogganing. Thanks, Sophia. We'll see you
Sounds
tomorrow.
good.